I started the next project from the Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain book that I'm working through, and this was the upside down sketch, and I did the first one today while I was at an art retreat with my friends, and it was a picture that was originally done by Picasso, and I'll show it at the end. But here I'm just doing, she has a couple more. One is Spider-Man, and then another of a soldier on a horse. So one of the things that she mentioned about the, oh, excuse my hair, I seriously didn't know it was in this video, and I just woke up from a nap. So I didn't realize that it was so funny on top. But anyway, back to the sketch. She has a quote by Van Gogh, who almost didn't become an artist because he really didn't think that it was realistic, like that he had the talent, and then he realized that after learning some techniques that it was doable, and so that's when he decided to devote his life to it. And the whole point of these exercises is to get you into the right side of your brain, and with the upside down art, you're focusing on just the shapes instead of a leg or a head or a face, because when our left side is in charge, we identify and label things. And one of the things, I don't want to ruin it for people that are going to do the Picasso sketch, so if you're following along, you might want to pause here and then come back to the 2-minute mark after doing this exercise or another upside down drawing that you decide to do. Okay, so if you want to keep going here, what I wanted to say that she talks about after you do the sketch is that you'll notice that the crossed legs of the Picasso sketch are almost perfectly done, and that's because most people didn't have any clue what they were drawing. But as they get to the hands and the face, they probably are erasing and struggling and actually not doing it as accurate, and that's because we know in our head already from years of knowledge that that's a head and those are hands, and so we start thinking, oh well, this, you know, and even though the legs were foreshortened and it was really a difficult thing to draw, for most beginning artists, it was actually quite easy when you do it upside down. But still going, even doing the head or the hands upside down, we have already labeled it and we struggle with it. Now when I did this sketch, I actually didn't allow enough room to complete it on the full set of paper, so I'm kind of going off on the right side of the paper, I realize. One thing she did suggest is when you're sketching is not to draw like the outline and try to fill it in, because but to just kind of not weasel your way, but work your way down and across, and whether you want to maybe start in the center or at a corner, she would suggest probably taking a corner or a side, and then you can make more adjustments. And another thing I don't know about, she didn't really mention in this book about the lines, but I've heard it said, and if you can see the head, I have so many lines, and I heard another artist that was at I think the Student Art League in New York say, you know, the more lines the better, because you can always erase and to err on the side of generosity basically when it comes to lines. So you know, you're more likely to get something right if you add lines. So and you can always take them away with an eraser when you're using a pencil. So that's kind of what I did with the head. One thing about these that I noticed about the webbing is that besides being kind of monotonous, the webbing does actually add to the dimensionality of the drawing by the way the webbing is curved. And the curves of the web, especially at the knuckles, that's when they kind of start bending in opposite directions. And then also the areas that are wider, it just shows, just helps create a dimensionality to the drawing. And another thing that the artist, or the author of the Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain, mentions is that, never mind, I lost my train of thought. Let's see what else. What are we doing here? Working on our hand. Well, it's like 12:46 a.m. I think I'm a little tired. Well, I'll just tell you one thing that she mentioned that I wanted to bring up in this video, and that is that when you're in the right side of your brain, you'll notice she says that you might, background noises get you're kind of in a meditative state. And the nice thing about it is that you actually have a piece of artwork when you're done, and to try to use it as a meditative state.